Peace 107.5 FM, the air of success.
We are in the 5 o'clock hour, and if it's 5 o'clock, it's hard copy. Hard Copy is a presentation of the McKinney Media Group, copyrights 2016, all rights reserved. The views, statements, and opinions of guests expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the views of the host, sponsors, or operators of this radio station. No part of this program may be copied or reproduced in full or in part without the express written consent of the producers, the McKinney Media Group. This is Hard Copy on the McKinney Broadcasting Radio Network, and Hard Copy seeks to lay out the facts in simple fashion for the inclusion of all Bahamians and Bahamians at heart. The focus every day to move forthright in our manner to build a progressive and developing country. Our desires for Bahamas with a competent, skillful, and productive workforce. We want a country that can feed and sustain itself. We want a country with a brilliant, visionary action plan that's ready to embrace a future of hope and prosperity. We encourage like-minded Bahamians just like you to participate with intelligent and honest contributions. After all, we have a country to build. We've got jobs and industry to create, a people to inspire and empower, and generations of born and unborn Bahamians. We the people must protect and plan for. And if not you, then who? If not now, then when? Today on Hard Copy, we talk about it all. Did you see it last night? What did you think? Did Minnis seem to be better at his speech presentation? What did you think? Do you think they're on the way, or was that just all a game?
Commonwealth Bank is giving you more convenient, reliable, and personal banking solutions, and now full-service Saturday banking at its Wolf Road branch. That's right, 7 Saturday banking locations to better serve you. Commonwealth Bank Plaza branch, Mackey Street, Oaksfield branch, Prince Charles Drive branch, Cable Beach branch, Golden Gate branch, the Mall Drive branch, Freeport Grand Bahama, and now Wolf Road branch. Commonwealth Bank is open 6 days a week to better serve you, and every Saturday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Commonwealth Bank, leader in personal banking services.
This Sunday, in a combined worship service, Bethel Baptist Church celebrates its 226th anniversary as the oldest Baptist church in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. The place, Bethel Baptist Church, Meeting Street. The date, Sunday, July 31st. The time, 9:30 a.m. Your speaker will be Reverend Dr. Timothy Stewart, the pastor of Bethel Baptist Church. The family of Bethel expects to see you there on this Thanksgiving service. There will be special music and performances by the Bethel's choir, Bethel's praise team, Bethel's dancers. It's all in the family this Sunday, 9:30 a.m. at Bethel Baptist Church. All are invited to attend. See you there.
We have 4 seasons here in the Bahamas. Tolerable, hot, really hot, and are you kidding me? Well, Super Value and Quality Supermarkets aren't kidding with super hot specials like Libby's Spaghetti with Meatballs in the blue can, the 15-ounce size, $1.19. Western Oils, the 48-ounce size, $3.89. Members Mark Apple Juice, the 96-ounce size, 2 for $5.99. Whole chicken wings, $1.29 per pound. Whole watermelons, $4.99 each. Your favorites are at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets.
Follow the Sweet Beats down to the final Junkanoo Summer Festival this Saturday, July 30th. This spectacular festival concludes with a bang, with the award ceremony announcing the winners of the weekly competitions. Colorful costumes, rhythmic sounds, sweet beats, delicious food, and so much more. And end the summer with a bang, 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 the Goombay Summer Festival every Saturday in August, showcasing cultural delights like traditional Goombay dancers, ring play, rake and scrape bands, and fire dancing. It all happens at Arawaki this summer, giving you everything that's uniquely Bahamian. For more information, log on to bahamas.com/summer festival or contact us at 302-2000.
At Ron's Electric Motors, they repair and rewind all major brands of electric motors, including water pumps, generators and generators back end, welding machines, electric lifts, air compressors, battery chargers, and more. They're equipped to handle up to 850 kilowatts and rewind up to 450 horsepower motors. They're conveniently located on the corner of Wolf and Clarence Roads and are open weekdays 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays till noon. They offer 24 hours emergency assistance. You can reach them at 242-356-0249.
It's a lobster fisherman special going on right now at Island Marine Electronics, Fowler Street near the Nassau Stadium. Get your gear in time for the lobster season. Garmin GPS fish finder with transducer, Uniden VHF radio, Shakespeare 8 feet and 4 feet VHF antenna from $499 down. 3 packages available while supplies last. Plus, you can get the Garmin GPS handheld for $159 or the Garmin fish finders from $139. It's all at one place. Island Marine Electronics Sales and Service. They're located at Fowler Street, right next to the Nassau Stadium. You can call them at 394-3826. That's 394-3826. We test and repair marine GPS radios, radar, and autopilot equipment all the time, only at Island Marine Electronics.
Want a better financial future? Seize the day. Is it crazy to think about retirement when you're this young? CFAL says it would be crazy not to think about it. Seize the day. Make your future happen now. Set goals, build wealth, and create the life of your dreams. CFAL can get you started. Visit CFAL.com to find a savings or investment plan right for you. CFAL. Seize your future.
Good afternoon, Hard Copy.
Hey, Steve, what's up? Steve's my man.
Hi, Steve. How are you doing today?
Hey, Steve McKinney.
Hi, Steve. How are you today?
All is well, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Hi, Steve. How you doing?
Hi, Steve. Hi, Steve. I am calling to thank you so much.
I respect to you, Mr. McKinney. How are you?
I was just calling on a point that you made. I think you're so correct.
Thank you so much. It is Thursday, the 28th day in the month of July, 2016, as you battle the congested city streets. In drive home traffic, partly cloudy sky, some nice sunshine out there for those of you who want to go walking. Take us with you. 91 degrees on the outside in the nation's capital at this hour. It's going to dip off to 81 later on this evening. There's a 25% chance of rain, more or less, in the forecast tonight. Thank you so much for joining us on the drive home. I'm Steve McKinney. This is Hard Copy. We're brought to you today by Island Marine Electronics on Fowler Street next to the Nassau Stadium. The committee to re-elect Dr. Hubert Minnis, Bahamian Brewery and Beverages, Cyber Tech Career College. Commonwealth Bank, your friends at CB waits you to give you that check to go away for the summer. Ministry of Tourism, travel the islands this summer, clean and short for comprehensive coverage. Super Wash, wash, eat, and drink, and relax while you're at Super Wash. Bank of the Bahamas, the Bank of Solutions, Super Value, all Bahamian supermarkets. Advantage Insurance and Brokers, 61 Collins Avenue, Ron's Electric Motors, Marriage and Wolf Road. Committee to elect Butler and Sands. It's going to happen tomorrow. The actual elections, we'll see what happens. Also, Sky Bahamas, CFAL, Executive Printers, Henry F. Store, Buddy's Wings and Green, and the McKinney Media Group for the best results in advertisements and public relations. You can call a hot copy at 325-023-506. Go to WhatsApp and texting 376-9234. Follow us on the World Wide Web at peace1075.com. And we say hello to all of our Family Island listeners in Cat Island and Eleuthera and around Grand Bahama and every place else. And also Cable Top Box 970, TuneIn Radio, iPad, iPhone, and the Android. You'll get us there. Follow us on Facebook, Hard Copy, and on Twitter, Hard Copy Bahamas. You can also go to our Facebook page and catch us on streaming live, and you'll see us right here in the studios as we say a pleasant and wonderful good afternoon to the entire Bahamas. I want to say a special hello, though, to Samantha Bald. Samantha Bald, how you doing this afternoon? Met her earlier today. Wonderful lady, and of course, she's a big fan of Hard Copy. So, you know, I've got to say hello to Samantha Bald, and I've also got to say hello to Tiffany Dane. And, of course, Blanche Thurston, Tiffany Dane, Blanche Thurston, and Samantha Bull. They're all from the Mosaic, right? Restaurant on Paradise Island. And of course, we thank them so much for always listening in. We thank you very much, ladies. We appreciate your participation. And like that, we want to say good afternoon to all the people as well from the convention. I met a lot of people at the convention last night who, in fact, from around the islands who can tell me everything that we say and do daily on the show. And so that's very good. We thank them so much. Listen, friends, I've got to tell you something that last night at that particular opening night, there were some things that happened, and I want to soberly and seriously ask you today your thoughts about it. Never mind all of the competitive spirit in the room and all that. Never mind the what seems to be an under the surface kind of, tension. How did it go if you watched it on television or listened to it on Peace 107.5 last night? Did you notice anything different? They've been talking all this stuff about, Doc is not this and Doc is not the other thing. But of course, I want to tell you today as we talk, and you can call me, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it from a point of view as to what could possibly happen. As I sat there in the room last night doing the live broadcast, it came to my mind and spirit that, you know what? We are in a serious situation in the country, very serious. And, apart from me going into the room and hearing and seeing some people there bend my ear and say, boy, we were waiting to see if England was going to try to show up around here. He's can get what the Doug get. I was kind of like thrown back at that because I thought that, there were people who really wanted to see him come around and cause some excitement. But that ain't what I got when I gone down there. I can tell you. I got this fact that these people are already made up their mind and that they know what they want and that they appreciate and respect that this race is between Loretta Butler Turner and Dr. Minnis. And of course, if you watch how things unfolded last night, you would see that obviously Dr. Minnis has tremendous support. You will see that. I mean, everyone sees that. I mean, let's don't play with that. We see that. But there are people who still have a difficulty with some things, even though it seems like the writing is on the wall in many regards. And even though I saw some things, I say, well, seeing is believing when the results are in. And that's where the proof is in the pudding. That's going to happen sometime tomorrow. So we won't try to preempt that. But just to look at it on the surface, you get to think about it. With all the stuff that's breaking down in this country with the Progressive Liberal Party's government, all of the things that we haven't been able to accomplish, all of the promises that were made, the poor governance that we are all saddled with, there was a little promising sign from Doc. Let me tell you, there was a promising sign. I sense a little sincerity, or I should say a lot of sincerity, and a lot of this can't happen unless the people come together. And that's where Doc was coming from last night. He was more than his usual. He was at his most fearsome best. Now, you may say, yeah, go on, Steve, but here's a man who's been accused of not being able to communicate, to speak, to bring his points across in a clear way that people can follow what he's saying, and he did that. As a young man doing the broadcast with me observed last night, there were more than the regular four-letter words that he was using last night. He was really speaking. He was communicating. He was connecting in simple terms, but connecting. Simple language. I do it every day. And this is what we talk about on Hot Copy. You don't have to use all these big words, these $50 million words. You can communicate in a simple way. I think he did that. And that's perhaps because he was talking to a particular demographic of people who are listening for the simple, everyday goodness word of we work together, let's get it done, this is what we ought to be doing. And so I thought that he connected with the people last night, if I may say so. If you disagree with me, you can call me because we're analyzing that, taking a look at that for a reason. And the reason is this. What's the point? The point is, if we are stuck with these two political giants that many of us have referred to as dinosaurs, and if we cannot mount as a people, as a country, the kind of togetherness that would spark a different direction because people are going to be who they are. If they are PLP, they're going to stick with their base. If they are F&M, more than likely in the way that we do politics, they will stick with their base. And I got to thinking, what if that becomes the situation? How do we change this country, get it to another level? How do we penetrate what you call the base support of both these political parties and change the paradigm as a people? Do you realize that both those political parties are polling somewhere 40% each between them? That's 80% of the people. And do you realize that if you're looking at the other 20 to make up the 100%, then that's 20% too short to create the paradigm shift. Unless the people who are there are disingenuous in both parties, that they will stray at a rate of 20% between the two to create another 40% shift or more. You see my point? I hope I didn't lose you with that. All I'm saying is that normally base supporters don't move. Normally, it has to be a drastic shift for the base supporters to stray. That swing voters that you call somewhere around about the other 20% that can make a difference, that's what we're dealing with. Is it strong enough as just what you call swing voters to change and make a paradigm shift in the politics of the Bahamas? That's what I want you to concentrate on today, because the reality is there, you know. It is nothing like when there's a reality that there are people who will never shift from their base. That's on both sides of the political divide. That's why when the DNA came along and they pulled somewhere around about 8,000 people, which amounts to about 13% thereabouts, that is why that was significant and impacting the vote from the group that they came from, which was the F&M. That is how important that is. And so when Dr. Minnis was making a reference last night to all of these other groups, these fringe groups, he called them, and he also called the gatekeepers. Quite interesting. The gatekeepers, you the people, have made such an impact that all of the political people are calling your names. They're calling the gatekeepers because that is the latest episode in a flash, in a big picture, in a clip of a picture, a snapshot as to where people are thinking and what they're thinking. The people who poured out that night on July 14 at the hall on Farrington Road are people who are from both the political parties and perhaps all three, even the DNA. They are people who are fed up. Now, let us bring that home. What can happen with those people who are fed up? If they're base supporters, will they gravitate back to their natural habitat when the bell rings? Think of it. Will they? Maybe not. Maybe they're so sick and tired, and only you can tell me that today, that they will hold the fort and keep moving away from those base supports of those two major political parties. Because if that's the case, we got to read the temperature right. And if that's the case, we are well on the way to change the government once and for all to a point where there's a new day in the Bahamas. That will be a glorious day. But the reality is, friends, you who are a part of any group of a fringe party, opposition-wise, got to make up your mind. Now, Dr. Minnis last night perhaps convinced a whole lot of people that he's ready to run this thing, and he's ready to include all others. What are your thoughts, friends? It's a very important discussion in the national politics of the Bahamas. What are your thoughts? I suppose when the PLP comes around with their convention, they will reach out to and try to, I suppose, dismantle in their own way the other fringe parties as well and say, come along with us, pretty much like they did with Renwood Wells and Rawlins and those who had these other parties, and they kind of like, what's his name, Cassius Stewart and the others who went to different groupings and made up that grouping and killed those other little parties. Are we still there, or do we have people who are matured enough to say, we are about to make a paradigm shift, as is prophetic, as was prophesied, that, you know, we've had enough, we're going to try something new. Do we have what it takes to do it? I want you to think about that today. I'm deliberately giving that to you because it's a reality check. Now, in my mind, I'd like to see us make a forward march for a paradigm shift. I'm being honest with you. The truth of the matter, though, is that when you're dealing with people who have been so programmed by political parties that have been in existence since 1953, and 73, you are dealing, or 72, you are dealing with a mindset that's not easily shaken. In other words, quite naturally, when the bell rings, they want to line up with what they've always been doing. Does the F&M look like the group to hold on to their base support and to even increase some others coming to them? Does the PLP look that way? It remains to be seen from their convention because they've not had it yet. But with all the stuff that's going on with Christie and all of his members are seemingly distancing themselves away from Mr. Christie, it may very well be that we are at the point, friends, the fork in the road, where decisions have to be made intellectually, logically, with no emotion, just for the sake of a better country. I want to put that in your mix today. Want to upset the apple cart, want to cause you to think, want to find you in a position of finding the best possible solution to our problems, because we've got many. We've got things that are fixable but can't be fixed because we have no insight. We've got a country right now that is on the verge of a junk bond status, and don't take it lightly, that could spark a devaluation of the dollar that could cause a ricochet effect across the entire world with the corresponding banks that everybody's concerned about now in the central bank of the Bahamas and elsewhere. Because the reality is, if we don't do something, we will go down that road willingly or unwillingly. We need thinkers. There is no time, as Dr. Minnis said, to fighting internally in parties. They need to come up with a plan. They need to have an alternative plan for what's going to happen down the road, because you will get beyond these conventions whenever they are held and completed. But we can't get beyond losing a country that's been enjoying a way of life and a standard of living that's been the envy of the Caribbean. And that's why we need thinkers. What you got to bring to the table? I'm talking to you like that today. What you got to bring to the table? What's in the leadership of the Free National Movement? What's in the leadership of the Progressive Liberal Party? What you got to bring to the table? What's in the leadership if the people decide they want a people's movement to be a political entity? What's in the leadership of it? Can we trust it? Miles Monroe says this will be the biggest and most important election you will ever see in the history of the Bahamas. He's absolutely right. There's a lot of things at stake. And so we can't just say, man, you know, why is it this and why is it that? And you're not thinking for your children and for your country. You know, what's amazing to me is that, and I'm all over the place today, so you can just call me friends because I'm loaded with a lot of this insight here today. You know, it's amazing when a Hubert Alexander Ingram, who went right to the door of the convention, literally, and looked in and said, I better don't do that. His announcement came on the 11th hour that he ain't coming to nominate. He's not interested. But I believe that he would have been interested. That's my personal belief. I could be wrong. But when I went into that hall last night, there were people who told me that he had paraphernalia. Oh, you didn't hear me. That he had shirts and people had stuff ready to bring him on. But here's a man who has said to us, and we trust him and like him, we think he's a statesman, we want him to be. He is now in the newspapers pouring out his soul about a couple of things that you need to be very, very scrutinizing of. He says that Bahama was a bad idea when it came to this liquidation that Christie them did. He says it to us now. Where was his voice when this was happening? Well, you've got to ask, what's the agenda? And that's why I'm trying to get to you today, to kind of get you to understand some things here. Because sometimes we don't be thinking, even me. And he says he's also very concerned. He has an abundance of stories in the newspapers over the day and yesterday. And he says, this is Ingram. He's concerned about the corresponding banks. You remember Steve McKinney talking about that for months? You remember Steve McKinney brought it to a hard copy and said, look, the clearing banks of the Bahamas has been concerned about how the government is going to get the plan sorted out to have the corresponding banks elsewhere in the world accept these ill-gotten gains from the gambling that nobody wants to touch. That's the reality of our situation. Ingram says he's very concerned about that. How many months later does he say that? He is saying it yesterday.
We were saying it for almost a year, 2 years. Now, you think I smarter than them? The answer is no. Emphatically no. But you know what it is? Can you trust them or can you trust me? And I hate to put myself in that scenario. When I say me, that's us, we the people. We work for you. We told you it's very important. Now the central bank is concerned because you know what? This whole thing about downgrading and junk bond status has come home to roost to the point of this is our reality. Do we have leaders now in these political parties who have the antidote, who have the remedy, the balm to fix it? See, that's what we need with fighting, internal fighting for leadership. Listen, we need to have a plan because these things are fleeting. They will pass, but not this problem that we now face. What are we going to do? So Ingram is now concerned about all of the concerns of the corresponding banks, who are the ones who pass all the checks and say, well, you know, this account from the Bahamas, you know, I don't know, this could be from a fund of ill-gotten gains. We can't take that chance because, and I'm breaking it down for you so you can understand it. We can't take that chance because, you know, we don't want to pay any big penalty to the OECD countries and to all of these institutions that we fall under. We want to make sure that money is passing through these things. They're not money laundering. They're not gambling funds. They're not from gun sales and all the illicit things. Can we trust this money? But Christie Dem never did anything to shore up the concern of the commercial banks that first and foremost made that their concern. Commonwealth Bank made it their concern. RBC made it concern. All of the banks made it their concern. No one has answered them. Still to this day, the Attorney General has not said, this the deal. Now, Ingram tells us, if you can believe him, that he's very concerned about that. As he is about this gambling thing that Christie Dem gonna do. It's almost like, I sat right down there and see them do it. I ain't say nothing, but you know, now I concern and this and that. You know, the point is, please spare us the drama because we have a country to build and you should have been doing your part. And that's one of the reasons why I bring you back to this last night. When I walked into the hall, the people was like, Ingram come back where? We was waiting for him. With disdain. That's what they were saying. And I couldn't understand why that was that they were saying that. But you know what it is? Many of the women said to me, these are the older ones now, sitting in the foyer. They say, you know something? This man broke off for running. Broke off, you know how they say broke off. They broke off for running and leave us after we lost. High and dry. He ain't even checked for his constituency. Just gone. Just mad. Someone was using expletives and stuff like that. And then we supposed to forget that. I'm showing you something, friends. All I'm showing you is very simply, you know, Bahamian people know the truth. They don't forget. They just put it into their memory bank for that day of remembrance. And when you stick your head talking fool, they will either hear you or ignore you. But they writing it down. And that made me say, you know, what are we doing here? We have a convention. This is wonderful. Doc is doing a fantastic job. In fact, all of them. I thought it was a very good convention opening night last night. I will be there for Born Broadcasting tonight. People attended. They're exuberated. They're exuberant. They're high on this thing. But they got to pick their leaders. And when they pick their leaders, they got to pick steady-head people. They got to pick people who ain't got no time for malice. And they got to pick people who got a plan for this country. Because the reality is that after this convention, you better have a plan, my friend. If you don't know anything about what I'm talking about, I've been talking about for 2 years, cheaper you sit small until your name is called. Because this is a big world out here where Bahamians are depending on us staying stable. Not only that, making sure that our dollar is going to stay par for par one, even though it isn't right now, but we figure it is. We want to keep it just like that. And we don't want to be on no junk bond status to the point where we have been regulated to the scrap heap, to the point where investors coming to the country are not so sure they'll get returns on their money, and we'll be giving away all of our concession and land and stuff, and we'll get them more. We'll sweeten the pot. We'll give them the next $2 billion investment for concessions and land. We could think less about it. That's how these guys are planning. The present fellows who want the scene. But what do we get in return? Another big dud like Cable Beach, Bahamas. And Ingham says that he knew that the minute we decided to go with this liquidation that Christie mentioned, and we didn't go with Ismailian's bankruptcy Chapter 11 plan to go to Delaware, that it was a mistake. Well. Thank you very much. Hello, are you home? Can we trust politicians? What we need is nationalists, people who are thinking country first, not to get in a political office to ride and drive around in a pretty car in air condition. We need nationalists who's going to look out for this country and rebuild this country. The country needs rebuilding. Anyone, be it PLP, F&M, who gets to that place of the House of Assembly must roll up their sleeves and decide that it's time to rebuild the country, and all these old things that have been keeping this country, they are dry rot. They're ready to go and be burned. They're no good. They can't help us. We need a new philosophy. We need a new fundamental policy of philosophy and development. That's what we need in the Bahamas. We need a new paradigm shift. We need a new beginning. We need new ideas. We need to get with the times. We've got to have people who can think and negotiate and plan and manage. We need a new architecture design based on the old model from a point of view as to these are the principles and guiding lights of a nation. We believe in the supremacy of God. We've got to have a good moral code. We believe in law and order. We believe in Christian values and principles. We must keep them in the code, but we must modify the house. We must find new thinkers to do it. This old foolishness about this tribalistic mentality of red and blue and yellow and gold is not going to cut it. It came to me last night. It's not going to cut it. It's all good in its place. But the country is bigger than two political parties, or three. The country needs nationalists, those who are thinking along the lines as to how we're going to develop the agricultural sector and become self-sufficient. Those who are going to be thinking about how we're going to protect our schools and make sure that we build them in such a way that these riffraff are kept out. No guns can come in. No knives can come in. No drugs can come in. We're going to educate our children. We're going to keep the pedophiles out. And those who prey on young children and molest them with their homosexual spirit, that ain't going to be there. We've got to redesign the country. Are you prepared for that? It can't be business as usual if the prophet has said that the old weapons that kept this country can no longer keep them. It just got me thinking. Not to castigate anybody or to marginalize anyone, just to show you that we're in a different place in time, and the old weapons that have been guiding this country just can't do it no more. They've run out of steam. The actual updates are new. You know, like when you got a telephone, they said, this is an update. You can touch the button and it'll be programmed while you're sleeping overnight. Well, the mode and the models have changed. We still got this old way of doing it. When the updates and the upgrades have come, we have not implemented them, so we're behind the times. If we were not behind the times, we wouldn't have this trouble now that Ingham is talking about with the corresponding banks. Christie, they ain't even start to address it. Ingham is out of office. Come now, people. I'm concerned. And that's why what I glean from the F&M's convention is that they are trying. That's one good thing. They're trying to amalgamate. They're trying to pull their forces together and say, look, there's much work to be done. We need thinkers. And that's why Dr. Menace, I believe, went on the limb to say that we will have to include those fringe groups, the new people who got some ideas. That's why the only way that the Free National Movement can take off, and this came through the broadcast last night, they need new young people. Why do you think they need that? Because they bring new eyes and new vision, new energy. But some other fellas, they won't stay. They won't stay. They're not thinking along the lines of new energy, new vision, and a new thrust. But you've got to begin that process, friends, because this is our country. Don't let anybody tell you this is a red, white, and blue country or yellow and gold country. This is our country as Bahamians. We are nationalists. We are Bahamians first and foremost, and there's nobody in the Bahamas bigger than the Bahamian. Get it right. And that's why there's a spirit of nationalism in the air. That's why people are interested. That's why the people movement got everybody thinking and say, well, boy, them people come out like that. It's not a political party. It's a movement. It's a movement of God's people. Keep it in perspective. And we don't know what's going to happen at the end of the day. But the thing about it is that God is speaking to this nation. He is. And we ought to be giving him a listening ear because we are in the dispensation of a new beginning. Now, I've got a couple of things to play for you today as you follow along. 325-0235 talk to me. 325-0242 325-0252 Hard copy, good day. How you doing?
Hey, good afternoon, Steve.
Peace and love. What's up?
Right here, your assessment of Doc and your colleagues seems to be night and day. That's the difference. What they're saying that they didn't get no substance out of Doc, what they was expecting to get out of him or from him.
Well, I think a lot of my colleagues are a little too harsh. I stayed around last night. I started the broadcast first and ended last. I got to talk with Doc and other people. I got to get the feel of the room. I didn't just go to my broadcast booth and talk. I moved around. I did some things, I can tell you. There are a number of my colleagues who are just totally against Doc for whatever reason. Either they don't like him, he's not their cup of tea, whatever it is. But I'll tell you this. I believe in honesty and fair play. And I can tell you, based on what I saw, Doc was much better than his usual self.
Right,
He was loose.
So too.
He was lucid. He was dancing. He felt the confidence. It came from him. He connected things. He made his connection with the people. He did some things that leaders do. He called the warring parties together. He brought them on the stage. People may think that these are just anything. These are godly moves.
But they are saying that Doc doesn't have time to do no dance and shuffle like Christie.
Well,
it's a serious time in the country.
All he was doing was
Doc
filling.
should be more serious and presenting his message and articulating what
listen,
he's going to do for
first
the country
and foremost,
in the future, given the state of the country.
Organizer, first and foremost, let me tell you, one must never be presumptuous. The first thing is this. That was opening night. The first thing is this. The winner, the victor of the F&M's convention will make a presentation on Friday evening. That's when you say, and now here are the plans. Understand it, everything in perspective. Anyone who believes that he should go up there and say, this is the plan, they're in a contest. They're in a contest to get the leadership. The leader has a plan. He's been articulating it. He said some of them last night, but he didn't go into detail. And I believe that's because if he becomes the winner, again, he can articulate to the people, look, this is what I have going forward. Now, you see, the point is, you're never going to please some people.
Well,
and the welcoming
too,
thing, you got to put in perspective. The welcoming thing is what it was. It's a welcoming thing. It's a, look, let's put out a united front. That's why he called her out about that.
I doubt
that's
that
why
party can be united just like that. You
Well,
know, you and I know that's going to really be highly unlikely. Maybe it's a possibility, but
now you see, you just contradicted yourself.
These sort of remarks like, Doc didn't give us a fair chance and he's this and that. You're still hearing that kind of rhetoric. Though.
That's okay. That's okay. See, the whole thing is this. Whose report do you believe? Do you believe your eyes or do you believe people writing?
On social media.
Yeah, but I know.
One of the candidates saying stuff like that.
Let me tell you something. I got that report when I walked into the room. A fellow colleague of mine in journalism handed me the report of Loretta Butler's Facebook page. I can tell you that I knew what she was crying about from last night. I didn't mention it in the broadcast because it was off social media. And I figure social media is social media. That's the fifth estate. I work for the fourth estate. And working for the fourth estate, I deal with the reality of things in the reality of of what it really is that's happening. Anyone can give an opinion about what they think and castigate a man and burn him down and break him up because they believe. There's a perception. You see, you say they will never heal. You may be right, but you could also be wrong. There's a possibility that they could heal. Doc
profession is
Dr. Minnis, I was saying last night. Dr. Minnis was basically trying to bring about a spirit of camaraderie, a spirit of coming together especially after Michael Pine spoke earlier and talked about this whole fraction that's happening. So he did the spirited thing as any leader, any good leader would do. That's a part of leadership. It took a whole lot for someone to say, I'm going to move beyond all the stuff that they're saying and bring everybody on stage and say that we are one. The enemy is, we're not the enemy.
I commend them for that,
Okay.
you know. But Steve, I want to just say this in closing because, you know, I know you have a lot of people probably calling. The gatekeepers, the people's movement, I want to say that I support that fully. And I'm trying to encourage other people to go in that direction. The problem is that you said it would be up to the people to want this to be a political party, right?
This is happening now with every passing day since July 14. There's all kinds of information coming in. There's a lot of work that's being done very quietly that you may not see.
Right.
Every now and then
that's
I
what I was
update you.
wondering. I said all of a
yeah.
sudden it seems like it's been dead.
Oh no! You couldn't believe that because there's ads that are going on all the time. There's a confluence of, if you sign up, you should have been getting letters by your correspondent from the grouping telling you, giving you updates.
I've signed up, but I haven't gotten no email yet.
Well, I saw some went out today, so I suppose you perhaps will be in that batch. The whole point is that there is a connectivity that's happening. There is a kind of corresponding that's happening from the core group that would have been called there that night. And so a lot of work is being done. You just trust my word on that. I couldn't sit there and tell you things that is not real. So
okay, thank
just
you
wait
very
for
much,
it.
Mr. McKinney.
I appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah, you see, there's sometimes people want things to happen right away. When God deals with things, there's a lot of time for everything. And while man may be thinking that you're moving too slow, and even some who are involved may be thinking that you're moving too slow, in God's time, he knows what he's doing. It's a movement of God. It's a movement of the people. You've got to understand God is dealing through his people. And anybody who's connected would know that that's how it works. There's nothing like when the people are speaking. The people are speaking. The people are speaking, and that's why the leadership of other political entities are calling the name of these people. Not their real name, but the fact that they say in that group, the people's movement, that group of gatekeepers. There's a reason for that. Is because they hear you and you are resonating loud and clear. And that's all you need to know. That in itself is encouragement. Okay? But at the same time, we have to pay attention to all the other things that are happening in our country. There's only one country we have, and all of we are Bahamians. And we've got to ask ourselves the sober question every day. What is it that we want in this country? You see, there are people who just want a little something in their pockets and they'll be satisfied with that. There's some who just want a crack on, some who just want a stitchy, Guinness, and there's some who just want, a little job, and then they'll be okay. What do you want for the country? Do you know the country is in perilous times? To the point where we are being talked about elsewhere in the world, where the investors hang out. They're saying, well, I don't know if we should really take this project down to the Bahamas because, they're on the verge of junk bond status. Will we get a return on our investment? That's our reality, friends. Our reality is not if it's LBT or Dr. Menace. If it is Perry Christie or Brave Davis or Obie Wilson, that's not our reality, Our reality is that there are some things that whoever it will be there must be prepared to address, to fix once and for all, to change the design, to make it go forward, to benefit all of the people. That is where you ought to be thinking. That should be the standard of what we want for the new Bahamas. Not the same old group that are made up of PLPs and FNMs through entities like the Sunshine Boys and many others. It's not just them. They have a combination of hierarchy FNMs and PLPs that are business partners. They're just one. We know them. We use them as an example, not to castigate them. It's the reality. I only talk factional. I don't talk fool. We need to know that it's more than that. It's bigger than that. That it involves your grandson and your granddaughter, that it involves your son who's an Indian and who just came back from school, that it involves your daughter who just came home from wherever to teach, that it involves your son who is a doctor in training in Trinidad and wants to come back here to work but may not. And it involves all those people who are in the United States, listen to me right now, in Atlanta, Washington, Chicago, and elsewhere on the Eastern American seaboard, who in fact are living there because there's nothing here for them. Never mind Fred Mitchell talking fool that this is a great place to live and there's a lot to do here for those who've gone off to college. That irritated a lot of people because those who live it know it, that it ain't so. That's our reality. We've got to make sure that we're going to bring back those who we sent off to learn the best things in life, to help to rebuild the walls of the city because they are in ruin. And that's how you ought to be thinking. When you look at Dr. Hubert Minnis, when you look at him, you got to look at him in that context. When you look at Loretta Butler, same thing. All of them, Dwayne Sands, Peter Turnquist, same thing. You got, what do they bring? Perry Christie, the others in the PLP, Wilshcombe, Mitchell, whoever you want to call, Brave Davis, you got to look at what do they bring. Do they have what it takes for the next Bahamas? And is their philosophy right? Is their philosophy one of inclusion with everyone under a big tent, for real, and that you are an equal partner? Is it that way, or is it that, you put them there and then they say, oh, I remember you from where again? And we can see what we can do for you. No, sir. What's your plan? It's a different time now. What's your plan? What's your plan for education? What's your moral code? Are we going to bring about a bunch of devils to put in the House of Assembly to hijack and Shanghai the whole operation of our moral code, as they almost did in June the 7th? What are we dealing with? It's not business as usual. It's time for a righteous government. And a righteous government don't necessarily mean, my friends, that you're looking at what some people have twisted theocracy. Fred Mitchell's the first one, but the devil is a liar. First one who brought it up. There are members of the media who keep finding that as if that's a terrible thing. No, it's not. This whole thing is about a righteous spirit of Bahamians in the leadership of a country to make it better for people all around, to share the wealth for people all around, to build a country. And if they ain't talking like that, friend, you still in the same old mode of kisses go by favor, friends, family, and lovers. Hard copy, how are you?
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hey, good evening, Brother McGinney.
Good evening, reconciler.
How are you, sir?
Man, I'm in good shape.
Yeah, reporting in for duty tonight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Brother McKinney, I listened to the referendum convention last night as I was driving home from work, and I was very impressed by a young man by the name of Shanador
Cartwright.
Sidney
Cartwright's son. You remember Sidney Cartwright, athlete? Shannon
Cartwright. I don't really know him, but
decathlon athlete, represented this country around the world many times. Good friend of mine. Very mischievous, but he's my good friend.
It sounds familiar, though. The name sounds familiar, but I think he did a commendable job in his speech and what he do. At first, I was trying to say, who this young fella is, until afterwards, and I understand it was him. And I think he did a great job.
He did. Didn't he sound like you was around when the days of Cecil Wallace Whitfield, right?
Oh, yes.
He sounded to me, glimpses of Cecil. I just think that he's a good speaker.
Yeah, definitely. The way he speak and then he paused and he started, it was a good thing. Then I heard it was McAlpine, Reverend McAlpine. Oh, that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
When
he's
he
always
spoke.
good.
And, I went home and I watched it on TV. I turned the TV. McAlpine was still going on, and he brought the leader and Loretta and hold up their hands, talking about that unity, which is so very necessary, and that's what is needed.
Yep.
So, Mr. McKinney, it was a good thing. Now, I fell asleep before Dr. Minnis came on, but today, someone said, man, did you hear Dr. Minnis last night? I said, man, he was awesome.
Yeah, people who know Minnis and people who want to be fair will give him his props. He did a fairly decent job, and I thought that he pulled the whole thing together. He didn't look lost on the stage.
Yeah,
he worked it well, and I give him his credit because I've been around for a bit to know what to look for, and I thought he did a very decent job. And most of them, a new convention, the kind of undercurrents that's happening there under such conditions and pressure.
But it was necessary.
It's important.
And that's what you really need. So, you will always have the critics. One radio station in particular, I don't know if they could say anything good about Dr. Minnis. I don't know what in the world he do there, man.
Yeah, well, that's
That
right.
ain't fair.
Everybody ain't gonna like you.
You know, but the thing is, although I did not support the FNM in the last convention, which I support them at least 3 times since '92. You know, Mr. McKinney, I could tell you, Dr. Minnis, he did his best. Now, the thing with Right Honorable Hubert Ingram, former Prime Minister, I heard what he said the other day about his speech, and I agree with it. He sounded like an elder statesman, and I think he made some sense. But I also read the Punch today, and I see where this man had church printed the bunks back.
No, that's true. I didn't see the Punch. I honestly didn't see the Punch today. But
it right there on the top right corner.
when I say it's true, I met
talking about it in Monday's edition.
But I met several ladies who had their bags, and when they were talking to me, they was opening their bag, showing me something. Now I ain't see his name, but they were showing. They say, Steve, he wasn't come back. Got it powerful, need to print it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And this was like not just in one spot. So I say, well, these people, they are all in the family. I ain't in the family. I mean, that's what they tell me. I don't know. But I never even saw the Punch. I didn't even know I was in the Punch.
See, the thing is, Brother Steve, and I'll just read a piece of you what the T-shirts say. The T-shirts say, okay, Ivan Jones say, here's proof Hubert Ingram was set to run for leader. Say, elect Hubert Ingram leader, proven and trusted. Okay? That's what it'd be on the T-shirt. See? So,
well, what you think gave him cold feet?
Last Monday.
What do you think gave him cold feet if that was the case?
Well, he found out that he could not beat Dr. Minnis.
I see.
The Minnis has the support of the majority of the delegates. The people take note that Minnis was there with them through the thick and the thin. When Hubert kick him against the curb and leave him like a baby was born with still with the navel string attached and gone by the business. And you can't deny it. It happened. Okay? And I talk about it for years on the talk shows. But I still give him some credit for his speech. But then again, you can't deny what happened. He leave them for dead. So they were right, and they are right to say, we don't want this fella back. Let him go, and let him stay going like Perry should have been gone, and he need to be gone. I understand it's alleged that he gone to the supermarket out west there shopping the other night, and ain't nobody look at him.
Well, that must have been devastating.
They say, let's say he shopping for groceries. Say, ain't nobody even study him.
Man, if that's true, reconciler, that must have been devastating. Not after he then fixed that hair nice and jet black and all that.
I don't care how much of them. I tell you, I mean, there was a woman cussing and carrying on that. They say they can't find no black dye. So fellas buy all the dye.
You behave
That's
yourself.
what I'm talking about. You know, with the issues of we on junk bond status, of devaluation of our dollar, under a PLP government who taxing the people to hell and who giving the cronies a free ride. Everybody is a free-for-all. They spend like drunken sailors with the national debt increasing and abounding, and no accountability, no transparency of where the WAC money is going. Is talk what $600 million made from WAC since over a year ago. Where is this money going? What are they doing? Why are we having an increase on the national debt?
Well, I don't know, my friend, but those are questions that you should be asking. I appreciate your call.
And the thing, you have every day, you see these cars on the road with government red plate, especially on the weekend. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry driving. All right, and nobody being accountable. These consultants all over the place again. You can't get away from the money basin, the slackness in the public service. Thank God for the few who are serious and who's committed to their job in the public service and love their job. But most of them is on a free ride, and the taxpayers is suffering. We have to pay them, and I understand that there's something that a raise is coming to the public service again. And IMF, Standard & Poor's, Moody's all and telling man you gotta curb your spending, you gotta manage the economy, and so forth and so on. And these guys, they don't care. But still, McKinney, when your children, my children, your grandchildren, our grandchildren have to live in this country, these fellas, if you don't take this man in hand now, they'll be long gone and all about over the world, probably go in another exile, safe haven. There are millions, there are billions, and they ain't checking for us, you know.
My Lord.
We got to take this in hand. This is real talk, man. Have a good day, Brother McGinney.
I appreciate your call. And
All
yeah,
right.
you know, a lot of times when these kinds of things happen, it is too late, too little, too late. We've got to take account of what's going on now. I agree with that. And basically decide what is it that we want. You see, but it's we the people. It comes right back to us. We the people. We have the power. We the people must make that decision. We must make it together as a group. We must listen to what is happening around us, and we must decide what is it that we want. We must make them, you know, speak clearly as to what it is that they have in the vision for the new Bahamas, not these paradigm, not these pie in the sky dreams. The things that are reality, things that we are suffering with right now. We know of our impending decay in this area of our standard of living. We know that we have a problem with poor education in the schools and all of those things. We know we have a problem with traffic congestion. We know we have a problem with importation of too many vehicles. There's seemingly no law, no kind of standard, everything that buck up goes. We know what our problems are. We know that we have too much spending to the point where the government of the Bahamas, successive governments, have begun this thing of abandoning the buildings of the government that they own, Rodney Bean Building, and they are going to rent buildings owned by some other people, in many cases the number boys. And we know the kisses go by favor, and we know that that's how they're spending the money. Millions of dollars they're paying in rent. How stupid could we be as a country? Why would we continuously spend year-round millions of dollars for rent of buildings in the private sector so that they can make that money, and that's your money that you're putting in a hole? Why can't we just renovate the buildings that we now own that we have abandoned? And there are many of them. The government owns many buildings that have been abandoned. Morrow Castle in the back here on Danes Lane is unbelievably in a state of disrepair. It's our building. We wouldn't renovate it. We rather spend $1 million down the road and give it to some fella to rent the building. What's wrong with us? If you renovate the buildings that we own, you can spur construction. You can bring contractors in from around the country and share this thing and let them have some jobs, and we can create jobs overnight if we go on a mission. And at the same time, tighten our belt, lower our expenditure, collect our revenue, because we are going to fix what we own, renovate them, put the people inside those things, and take them out of these buildings that we are renting. This is just common sense. But apparently common sense ain't common in the governance of the Bahamas. So we're renting all kinds of buildings. I'm going to give you all an assignment. Let me see if you're all with me. I want you to go around, all of you, and you find buildings that you know that we are renting, and you report to me. Let's put the people to work. See, you need to perhaps do this yourself as an assignment to understand what I'm saying. Don't just take what I'm saying. Go and check the amount of people that we're renting from and how much money we're paying for them, and you'll see that we can fix the national debt, that we can save some money, so that we can tighten our belt, that we can collect revenue if we're doing the right things by taking possession of the things that we do own and fix them and populate them instead of spending money on new buildings and abandoning the ones that we have. Plus, the buildings that we've been abandoning, they are eyesores. Look on the corner of Parliament Street there in Shirley Street. This is the Rodney Bean Building. Everybody says, oh, Steve, that's condemned. That ain't no good. Well, fix it. Cannot be condemned to the point where we will, I'm telling you, we can fix it for far less than the rent that we're paying year in, year out. These are the buildings. Fix it, get it going, and let's put our people back to work. Get the contractors going there, do the job, find them. That's how you create jobs. This ain't no jokey thing. It's a very simple fix. We're not prepared to, because you see, there's corruption. There's corruption. There are people moving monies around, doing things how they feel like so that the monies can flow, so they can tell you this cost. You know, we're not serious. They're kickbacks. So if we're trying to fix a country that's now in jeopardy, and the IMF and the World Bank and everybody is dictating to us, and these agencies like Standard & Poor's and Moody's are saying what they're saying, I mean, doesn't it make sense to do what you're supposed to do, tighten your belt? Come now. It's so simple. What are we going to do about these roads? Ingram then borrowed all his money overspend by $100 million. No one wants to answer Peter Puch. Every time he brings up, he say, oh, Peter Puch hates Ingram. What foolishness. Ingram didn't give an any account of $100 million in overspend and overruns. And look what has happened. Didn't we have to, we not only have to pay this overrun, we didn't have Bahamians doing it. They were the Argentines. On top of that, Jose Catalino and them, on top of that, we put every local business in that particular vicinity out of work. But then that's progress, eh? To get a road running that are narrow, that too many sidewalks, the next government ought to come to town and bulldoze those sidewalks, reverse the traffic again, make it two-way on Blue Hill and Market Street, and move all these medians and stuff off the place. We were better off. Mind you, some pipes may be in the ground for true, you know, that bringing water to the east. But see, on the surface, we have chaos. Water may be flowing under the road, but on the surface, there is chaos. And there was a plan that they did that I told you about too, if you want to recall it, that we pay no attention to. And that is, they reversed the traffic. These buses run one way all the way up that way and come back down this way, and some businesses got cut out. And in the meantime, in the over-the-hill constituencies of Angliston and St. Cecilia, it is madness. All them little moms and pop shores, goodbye. Excuse me, hundreds of Bahamians in the private sector don't have any more jobs to go to. We've created unemployment. And we believe that Christy and them could come and replace it with some people jumping up and down in the hot sun, shaking what the mama give them, talking about this is Junkanoo Carnival, and that's going to give them job. Oh, you make me cry. What a country. And then they perpetrate this fraud, talking foolishness from the Department of Statistics. And I don't believe any of the people down there. I'm just saying this is their job. And they say the unemployment rate has dropped by 2.1%, and we've got politicians trying to lower that and say, man, look at what we do. What foolishness. You cannot count a man who worked on the weekend at the Junkanoo Carnival as an employed person. And it's strategically placed and planned. They do this thing around May. What happens in May in the Bahamas? Oh, we Junkanoo and Carnival. So people working, they bill in costume, they rushing, they getting $10, whatever they do. That ain't no real employment. In the meantime, you've got Ken Dorsett at the Ministry of Environment and Health, got people working in the Botanical Gardens here in Fort Charlotte for 20 years as temporary workers, big man and woman working for 20 years. They came to me, I wrote a letter, sent it to Ken, have not heard anything back. And they can't go to the bank to try to build their house for their family. Now, how you can have a man working for 20 years as a temporary worker? And you say you're serious. How? And you ain't want them to teeth the plant and sell it. What you talking about? You see how much work we got to do? And that's just scratching the surface. Hard copy, how are you? Hi there. Hard copy, how are you? Okay, let me run to the break. This is Hard Copy, 11 past the hour. You can call me. I'm sorry about that. I got carried away. Sometimes that happens too. The confluence of problems. I may have over-talked just now, but I'm sorry. I don't mean no harm. Get back on the lines. I want to hear you. 325-0235 or 6 is how you can call me. This is Hard Copy. There's more to come in just a minute.
In 3 years, I'm expanding my business.
In 5 years, we're building our dream home.
You can speak with confidence when you know you've invested wisely. With superior rates from BOB's B-Dollar Investment Certificate, your money grows according to your schedule to provide extra funds just when you need them.
In 10 years, she's going to college.
B-Dollar Investment Certificate. Sow a little, reap a lot. From BOB, your bank of solutions.
Based on the premise of anything you can do, we can do better in the Bahamas. The Bahamian Brewery is 100% Bahamian owned and operated. Proud Bahamians making good traditional brews in Grand Bahama, then bottling and shipping throughout our islands. Our thanks to you, Bahamas, for supporting our family of beers and beverages. Sands Light, High Rock, Strong Back, Bush Crack, Sands Pink Rattler, and Triple B. Brewed and bottled here and consumed right here in our Bahamas. Now that's truly Bahamian. The Bahamian Brewery encourages all of its fans to drink in moderation.
This is Kay Russell, secretary by profession, and I'm a gatekeeper.
This is Ben Archer, and I'm a gardener by profession, and I'm a gatekeeper.
This is Reverend Dr. Patrick Paul, former president of the Bahamas Christian Council, and I'm a gatekeeper.
This is Prescott Smith, a fellow gatekeeper. I believe in a vision for a new Bahamas where nobody is bigger than a Bahamian. A Bahamas where every Bahamian from all walks of life can share in the country's vast resources that we've been blessed with. As a Bahamian, we are very wealthy in more ways than one. And I share a vision for Bahamas where the wealth is for each and every Bahamian. Now is the time for the people to make it happen.
The Gatekeepers, powered by the People's Movement. Visit and sign up now at info@thepeoplesmovement.net. Whatever target you set for yourself, or however ambitious your plans are, we'll make sure you start with the right training for courses that turn into careers. It all starts with Cybertech Career College. Cybertech Career College now offers internationally accredited professional certifications in legal studies, accounting and financing, office management, human resource development, hospitality management, medical assisting, and a whole lot more. So what are you waiting for? Pick up the phone now and call Cybertech Career College at 322-4223. That's 322-4223, and start on the road to a new career.
Hey everyone, traveling this summer?
Yes!
Shopping?
Yes!
School expenses?
Yes!
Need an easy way to pay for it all?
Yes!
I thought so. Then you love a personal loan or credit card from Commonwealth Bank. Get fast approval on the funds you need with low rates and $100 bonus. Plus enter to win $5,000. Come to Commonwealth Bank today. See you there?
Yes!
Fantastic.
Butler Turner Sands, bringing the Bahamas forward together.
Leadership is about unifying people. It is being clear about your vision and influencing people to follow you and help you achieve that vision.
I view Loretta Butler as a courageous woman. She's tenacious, and most importantly, she's trustworthy. Her word is her bond.
Ms. Butler Turner has really proven to me that she can lead this country, take us to where we need to be. I must say that even though I had my doubts about the F&M before, Ms. Butler Turner has shown me that she can bring back strong and ethical leadership.
After the hurricane, she was the first person on the ground to help out her Long Island people with some other people from Long Island, the Head Knowles group, and they was just, it was amazing that Ms. Butler came and helped out the Long Island people.
Based on the premise of anything you can do, we can do better in the Bahamas. The Bahamian Brewery is 100% Bahamian owned and operated. Proud Bahamians making good traditional brews in Grand Bahama, then bottling and shipping throughout our islands. Our thanks to you, Bahamas, for supporting our family of beers and beverages. Sands, Sands Light, High Rock, Strong Back, Bush Crack, Sands Pink Rattler, and Triple B. Brewed and bottled here and consumed right here in our Bahamas. Now that's truly Bahamian. The Bahamian Brewery encourages all of its fans to drink in moderation.
I'm changing the quality of life of individuals. I want to improve the quality of life of many others.
I'm rocking with Doc. Most definitely I'm rocking with Doc.
I'm rocking with Doc.
The young people will embrace me. They will support me.
Yes, we supporting Doc. Most definitely I'm rocking with Doc. This July at convention, rock with Doc.
It's a Lobster Fisherman special going on right now at Island Marine Electronics, Fowler Street near the Nassau Stadium. Get your gear in time for the lobster season. Garmin GPS fish finder with transducer Uniden VHF radio, Shakespeare 8 feet and 4 feet VHF antenna from $499 down. 3 packages available while supplies last. Plus, you can get the Garmin GPS handheld from $159 or the Garmin Fish Finders from $139. It's all at one place. Island Marine Electronics Sales and Service. They're located Fowler Street, right next to the Nassau Stadium. You can call them at 394-3826. That's 394-3826. We test and repair marine GPS radios, radar, and auto-pilot equipment all the time, only at Island Marine Electronics.
We have 4 seasons here in the Bahamas. Tolerable, hot, really hot, and are you kidding me? Well, Super Value and Quality Supermarkets aren't kidding with super hot specials like Libby Spaghetti with meatballs in the blue can, the 15-ounce size, $1.19. Western Oils, the 48-ounce size, $3.89. Members Mark apple juice, the 96-ounce size, 2 for $5.99. Whole chicken wings, $1.29 per pound. Whole watermelons, $4.99 each. Your favorites are at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets.
Want a better financial future? Seize the day. Is it crazy to think about retirement when you're this young? CFAL says it would be crazy not to think about it. Seize the day. Make your future happen now. Set goals, build wealth, and create the life of your dreams. CFAL can get you started. Visit CFAL.com to find a savings or investment plan right for you. CFAL. Seize your future.
At Ron's Electric Motors, they repair and rewind all major brands of electric motors, including water pumps, generators, and the generator's back end, welding machines, electric lifts, air compressors, battery chargers, and more. They're equipped to handle up to 850 kilowatts and rewind up to 450 horsepower motors. They're conveniently located on the corner of Wolf and Clarence Roads and are open weekdays 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays till noon. They offer 24 hours emergency assistance. You can reach them on 242-356-0249.
This Sunday, in a combined worship service, Bethel Baptist Church celebrates its 226th anniversary as the oldest Baptist church in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. The place, Bethel Baptist Church, Meeting Street. The date, Sunday, July 31st. The time, 9:30 a.m. Your speaker will be Reverend Dr. Timothy Stewart, the pastor of Bethel Baptist Church. The family of Bethel expects to see you there on this Thanksgiving service. There will be special music and performances by the Bethel's choir, Bethel's praise team, Bethel's dancers. It's all in the family this Sunday, 9:30 a.m. at Bethel Baptist Church. All are invited to attend. See you there.
When Steve talks, people listen. People listen. People listen.
Welcome back to Hard Copy. I promise you I'll take your calls as a means of priority at 325-0235 or 6, 325-0242 or 43, 325-0252 or 53. You can also WhatsApp or text me at 376-9234, and we thank you so much. So get on the lines. Let me hear what you have to say. I've got a text that I want to get to right away because earlier I was telling you about the Shannon Don Cartwright, and this is Don Cartwright, who worked with me in ZNS. That's his son, Don Cartwright from ZNS. And I'm thinking of Sydney, the other athlete, and so I gave you that misinformation. Just wanted to correct that, and so that's who that is, Shannon Don Cartwright, the son of Don from ZNS. The other thing is that when we are looking at this whole matter of what I talked about earlier with the environment and all that kind of stuff, and Ken Dorset and all this thing at the Botanical Garden, we're looking too at somebody texts me and says, well, Ken Dorset, as minister responsible for the environment, publicly condemned the wrongful dumping of those biohazardous medical waste supplies, or is his ministry still looking into that matter too? See, there are people, real behaviors, who want to get things done. Not this just fooling around and frolicking and people want things done. And that's what I'm talking about. Good governance is what we want. And of course, the person is saying, while I was talking about the reversal of the road, say, can you please make sure that they also make the road two-way in front of S.E. McPherson School on Blue Hill Road? Yeah, make that two-way. We can do this, you know. I don't know who let these Argentines come here with this design. They tell me, that's a funny area to go into. They tell me that the people at the Ministry of Works were supposed to be overlooking this, and that's been one heap of a mess as to who was supposed to be doing the things to make sure that the road on the top looked the way it's supposed to look. This design, and I keep telling you, this road design that we have, I ain't get used to it yet. Let me tell you, I haven't gotten used to it yet on New Providence, because it is not only confusing, it's congested, it's narrow, it's small, it's vexing, and it's causing traffic jam. I don't care what you tell me. You know, politician can tell me nothing different. As I drive these roads, it's causing tremendous traffic jams. Too many medians in the road, too many islands, too many arrows on the road that's supposed to be going straight. All of a sudden, it just merge. Please. That's how they drive like that in Mexico and Argentina, you know. Crazy, 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 all kind of fool. I tell you, I've been to these places, and they had people driving on the bus on the hood on the outside of buses, public buses. And on the fender, holding on like how the fellas over here used to hold on a garbage truck when they're going through the neighborhood. Public bus systems. You have no idea. Just because some people come from foreign and say this is what they do, and we accept that, they must be no. This is just made this island ugly, a concrete jungle. On top of that, we don't keep the medians. The grass is growing all kind of bush in it. I don't mean to complain, because I appreciate the effort that they made, but you know, if you got a plan without maintenance, you're joking. Hard copy, how are you?
Hello, good day, Dr. Steve McKinney. How you
Peace and
doing?
love.
Sir?
I raise in hell today, because you know, I look around, I say, we are so busy playing politics that we're missing what the essence of our whole existence is, to get this country right.
Yes, I see into that. I'm saying right now with England saying he just put more nails in Perry coffin, saying that Perry is the one would cause the hotel not to open. If he say write Perry to let and talk to him, if Perry to listen to him, by now the Balmoral Hotel would have been open. Those 2,500 people would have still been working. Then after that, listen to all of these things with carrying on. I go to sleep at night, but I always think of, you see, whatever you say to the people, the Bahamian people get that in hard. You don't mind Menace and Butler, them keeping their meeting and thing, because they ain't trying to help nobody. The people know who going to help and be y'all. Because what really happening now, that Perry them that supposed to save the people home this mortgage release, people home still getting take away, and they ain't doing nothing about it. No. You know, and y'all party with this new national born free new national movement, the gatekeeper, say that if the people going to vote for y'all, I told you it's a squirrel thing, and y'all going to win this election landslide. And the gentleman said that the pastor say that he going to make sure each Bahamian have a piece of property. And if the Bahamian them have a piece of property, I know that y'all will save the people home. And that's what the people want. So they ain't worrying about PLP or F&M anymore, you know. Everybody's eyes is on y'all. And this is spiritual battle, and the Lord going to make sure that you're going to win. And I'm going to repeat this every time I come on. You might say I'm crazy. I already said this. If the PLP win 2 seats and F&M win 1, they win plenty. Because this with the people them going, they go there, God, and have them vote. They forget about PLP, F&M. And if they win those 2-3 seats, like I told you, it'll be surprised, because you all know what you're all going to do, and God is with you. And have a blessed day.
Blessings on you. We pray, God, that all things, give me the mic. We pray, God, that all things work out in the best interest of his people. But that's what we're talking about. We need to have people there, wherever they are. If they pop up, if the Lord's plan is for them to pop up in these other parties, just please, Lord, make them righteous people who have some focus, who will get away from the whip and the politics and the whole philosophy of these, the ideologies of these parties that has not served us well, whose time has come and gone, and make them people who are righteous, who want to do things on behalf of the people, where the people will be pleased and God will get the praise. And that's what this is all about. This is a God moment. It is still a God moment. I was telling a friend of mine today that a God moment isn't something that happens one day and then it goes. A God moment may happen on a particular day. The next day is always a new beginning for at least 7 years of a new dispensation of a God moment. Do you believe that that's what happened on the 7th of June and the 8th being a new day where a lot of things unfolded in a God moment that can last for 7 years? A God moment. We must not miss the moment. But then again, some people think I crazy, like the brother said, and they think I just saying that. Check your Bible. Go get your references. I can't tell you everything, but I can give you and put you on page for those of you who doubt. It's a God moment. We've got to find a righteous way. And there is one. Now, I'm going to go to these lines as I promise you. Hard copy, how are you? Hard copy, how are you? Oh, I'm sorry. Call me back. I thought you weren't there. Hard copy, how are you?
Amen to that, Mr. McKinney.
Amen.
I do agree. But I'm stepping back one topic that you were talking about just now regarding the roads.
Yes.
Mr. McKinney, while that was happening, we could have said something or done something, you know.
Yeah. You mean when you say we, you mean we the people?
Yes, sir,
Yeah.
because I did.
Yeah, a lot of people said. I have all the recordings. You see, when I talk about these things, I'm looking at a record. I can look at the computer and I can tell you there were people who called and raised hell like nothing. Reconciler was one of those people. A lot of people who I remember called. Sparky was one of those people. A lot of people. But you see, no one listens to the people if they figure that, oh, they play in politics. That's what people said at the time. Now that we have gone and lived it for a couple of years and you've driven those roads, you realize now that, you know something? These pipes under the road may have been necessary to get water to go to the eastern part of the island. That's all well and good. They must get water too. But the surface, what has happened on top of these roads is a disaster that some people benefited from. The construction company, Cataloni, picked by those people we got the money from. The other people, the local contractors, the hot mix people, you go and check them, see who they are. They made a whole lot of money building sidewalks and medians and all that, and they passed off a big bill, and somebody paid the bill, and we're going to pay it back in taxes.
But here's the point I'm trying to make to you, Mr. McKinney. I spoke to the foreman. I was driving one day on Marathon. They were making that island in the center so wide that the backup was worse than it was before.
It is now.
And I stopped my car and I said to him, I said, sir, this island is too wide. I said, we still have the same backup problem that we've been having. Do you know they narrowed that island and we do not have any backups on Marathon? You see, we have to say it.
Which part of Marathon you don't have any backups?
It is to talk to these people.
I drove that area on the weekend, and I had to try to go around the roundabout Wolf Road and go straight where I was going someplace else because you just couldn't pass. I don't know if that's because it was a Saturday. I don't really frequent that area, but I'll tell you, the cars from one end of that light on Robinson Road to the other end of the roundabout by the roundabout on Wolf Road.
You were going...
trying to head south on Marathon Road.
Going south.
Yes, ma'am.
No, I was going south.
Yeah, I was trying to go south on Saturday Pass. I was late for a whole assignment because I couldn't get to the highway to express down
North
to the
side
highway.
is always backed up because of the Wolf Road roundabout. They did a mess up down there.
No, the Wolf Road roundabout was clear. But, you may be right at different times. I don't know. All I'm saying is that we know that there's a lot left to be desired of these roads. We need to do something to fix them in a way that it's going to be more conducive for the flow of traffic and all these cars that we have on these roads.
Yeah.
And there's only one way to do it, is to look at it again.
You look at right.
And let's see what we can assess and fix. All right?
That's correct. I think it could be corrected. I agree. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you anytime, my friend. Hard copy. How you doing?
I'm fine, Mr. McKinney. How are you?
I'm in good shape.
All right, Mr. McKinney, every time when I hear this road project, it tears open old wounds for me. Because I was one of those who lost 2 businesses strictly because of this road project.
I know many people who've lost businesses because of it.
Yeah,
No one seems to care
listen to
about
me,
it.
yeah? This road project was an attack on small and medium-sized businesses. What you see, the carnage that has left with all of the businesses being dead, and I mean thriving areas being shut down, that was planned and carried through by the F&M government.
Wow.
Okay? When you go on Blue Hill Road, sir, you could see the road that they did. and you could see 12 feet of extra road on each side of the road.
Yeah.
Tells you that the road could have been wider.
Yes, sir.
It was an intentional attack. And that's why I believe this argument that Dr. Minnis is coming on now with, we got to revitalize the urban area. So in 2007 and 2008, the urban areas were thriving. People on Market, on Blue Hill Road, Market Street, all those urban areas they're talking about, they were converting their homes into businesses. You remember that?
Yes, of course. There was traffic, commercial businesses started to pop up. Somebody must have didn't want that to happen, and so something else happened. If there's a ulterior plan, ulterior motive.
Right. And when you look at it's a nice plaza right there on Independence, by the roundabout on Independence. Notice how easily you could get in and out of there. Coming out of that plaza, you could go in any direction, going or coming. The same thing on Carmichael Road. Ease of business. If you go in there, either way you coming in and out, you could go either direction. But when you come to those block businesses, man, you have to go way up and come back down in the traffic. And when you leave, if you go in the other direction, you got to go. All of that was an intentional attempt, an attack on the small businesses. So I'm going to leave right now. But what the FNM does is they attack the middle class and the small and medium class businesses. And see, those who are on the lower stratas of the economy, they wouldn't feel it until they start to climb the ladder. But when the FNM is empowered, that middleman, me as a businessman, I could have felt every time the economy takes a breath, goes up and down, I could feel it. And I could tell you under the FNM government, I've been doing business for 25 years, under the FNM government, you could feel the economy, your pocketbook and your business contract, and who is left standing. Thank you very much, sir.
I appreciate your call. Well, you know, there are some who would look at it like that and say that's what happens, and he may be right. I haven't done the study. I take his word for it because experience is a serious teacher. And I can tell you, it has to be considered a mistake by those who now, in hindsight, like Mr. Ingram has been looking now in hindsight at some things. Maybe he ought to look in hindsight and let's address these roads and see if it has panned out well. Now, let me give you some examples, okay? They were building the road out on JFK, that widening of the road. They cut down part of the hill. They widened the road. You see, that's nice expressway to get to the airport. Am I right? Good. Some people even been speeding on it and lost their lives. But they did that because it was important for that gateway to get them into Bahama. The Chinese helped us do that $60 million, if I remember correctly. But that's good. But when they were doing that, do you know that have no businesses along the way? They didn't block any business, but they worked on that road. Here's my point. They worked on that road 24 hours a day, 24/7. Go back in your mind now and see it. Now, let's move into the interior, Blue Hill Road, Market Street. Here are areas where there are businesses thriving, black and white, Conky Joe, whatever you want to call it, businesses, good. There was the Blue Hill Meat Mart. There was my late friend Roy Bowe's Jiffy Quality Cleaners. Many other businesses along Blue Hill Road and the Market Street corridor. Whenever the people were working there, it took an inordinate amount of time. They was there like for years, but they was working twice a week. They were not 24/7 round the clock like they should have been, because you had to make sure that businesses were going to remain open and traffic would flow to these businesses. When they were doing the road works, the businesses suffered and suffered and suffered till, in fact, when the road works were completed, sometime years later, with delays and all kinds of stuff, the businesses shut down. Loss of revenue, people were sent home, no more job. And the one-way traffic flow on Blue Hill and the one-way traffic flow southbound on Market Street, northbound on the Blue Hill Road, killed the rest of the businesses along the way. You need to understand what I'm saying here. That was a pocket of great economic prosperity prior to the roads. The businesses thrive. All the muck and all these businesses further east on Blue Hill Road and Market Street and all these places and East Street, they suffered, still suffer. The Meat Man closed down, Jiffy closed down, a number of other businesses along the way closed down. Super Value only exists this way because it's a big franchise and people are going to find a way to the backside of Super Value to get through that corner. I don't even know the names to get to Super Value and buy some things. and people could walk in the vicinity of Super Value. But the real business to say someone traveling from west to come to Super Value to shop on Blue Road don't exist. Let's talk no foolishness here. Now, that's been 4 years ago, 4, 5, 6 years ago. Can we do a reassessment? Can we look at it again and figure out how we can fix this? Because really, the water is supposedly running underground to get to the east. That's what they're doing in the first place, putting in better water mains and stuff. But on the surface, our people have lost it. There's no more Blue Hill Meat Mart. It's a ghost town. I used to go to Blue Hill Meat Mart. Oh, you playing like you know what I'm talking about. All of those little areas where the barber shops, the clothing stores, the little material, I used to go to them places because I believe in supporting my own people too. But I was diverted to just go to either the Mall at Marathon or straight to Bay Street. Now, you don't have to like me for saying that. I tell you facts. This isn't the first time that has happened either. It happened way back in the day when we were thriving as an economy over the hill. Grantstown was a mecca of activity, had its own movie houses, newspapers, companies back in the day. Somebody gone and say, well, there ain't no more segregation. They don't mind if you come on Bay Street and buy stuff. And everybody gone with their basket to Bay Street, so they're going to go shop at Mr. Sands then. I know the history, you know. I can tell you no lie. But in this modern place where there was a reason why Stafford Sands and those in the old model didn't allow for certain businesses to come over the arch. It's a reason why they didn't allow Kentucky Fried Chicken and them places to come south of the arch, you know, and that they were on Bay Street because Stafford Sands, there was that the people over the hill, they have a thriving economy that's filled with nightclubs and nightlife and all kinds of stuff. And they got their own chicken in the bag and milk stand places. They need you all to bring no Kentuckian thing over there. Somehow, we lost faith in what he was doing. And the next thing we knew, these guys were all over the hill. Mall over the Marathon, mall in Town Center, which they're now trying to sell to the government to make offices out of a big wasted space. One store inside the whole Town Center mall. My Lord. You see, if leaders have no vision, they will carry all of us down that hole, and all of we can suffer and cry. And that's what's happening now. So all of this stuff that has been happening, we have to find a way of fixing it. Who is going to be the one to decide that we're going to fix some things, we're going to reconstruct the Bahamas, we can try to make little, small, medium, and large businesses over the hill thrive again? We have to do some corrective surgery. We got to fix that road. See, once traffic is flowing and people can park on either side and they can pull to the side and run in the store, they will support. We are a mobile society. This whole thing about pedestrians walking everywhere, this is rubbish. All these sidewalks all the way downtown. I used to crack and say, man, Ingram must be believe everybody can be walking on the side of the road. They must be going to dumb down this place and make it so poor that everybody can be walking straight to Bay Street from way outside on Carmichael Road. With all these sidewalks. I have nothing against sidewalks. Sidewalks have been a way of creating jobs, but sidewalks are a little too much in the Bahamas, especially on New Providence. Everywhere there's a sidewalk, to the point where, you can have a sidewalk, but it can't be that big and wide that you make the roadway narrow and accident prone with no bus stops. You know the story. I never thought I'd be talking about this today, but the point is, I only got on this point because we're talking about reconstruction. We have to fix the thing again. We got to fix it so that businesses could thrive. Hard copy, how are you?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. McKinney.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
While we are talking about the roads, they have they've dug up Wolf Road over and over and repeatedly, but there's no repair work going on, nowhere. And all of the potholes are all over the road. It's just ridiculous.
I know.
One other thing, the new construction that was done during Mr. Ingram's tenure, we find that the roads were paved and everything, but there's no names. You don't know where you're going. Please, if you can do something about that situation.
I appreciate it.
Please, give us some direction of where the roads lead to, because we don't know where the roads are leading to. All we know is that they reconstructed some roads and that's the end of it. Thank you, and please ask the engineers from the Ministry of Works to do something about that. They don't need people imported from elsewhere to come in and put a name on the road. Please help us.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And it doesn't fall on deaf ears. The nation listens as you speak. And you're so right. Two things here on signs. We got a group of miscreants and deviants and mischievous people who take pride in breaking down signs. Now, I'm not saying that I've done this in every area, but some of these people who are very destructive, who have no sense of national pride or sense of anything, they go around the place knocking these signs with their hands and stick and break the signs down. For what reason? I don't know. They're just either crazy or just destructive. I'm coming into my office the other day. It's the holiday, and I'm stopping into the office, and I'm on Nassau Street and Gibbs Lane, which is really Mara Lane and Nassau Street, but Ministry of Works put Gibbs Lane on it. Well, I suppose they must be changed the name. But where the station really is called Mara Lane. Susan Mara was the woman who owned most of the properties in Chippenham, in this Fort Charlotte area, this first part, before Chippy and Chippenham, the Chipman family. But this thing about Mara Lane was named after Susan Mara. And so it's called Mara Lane. But they got all jack up. They don't know what it is. They call the whole thing Gibbs Lane. Gibbs Lane was named after Margaret Gibbs. Mara Lane runs into Gibbs Lane. Gibbs Lane begins by the pump, the government pump, or the brink of the hill, going further west or going north on going west on Mara Lane. The whole thing has one name. You ask how important is the name? Well, go to BEC and tell them where you live. And tell them where you want electricity to your house. And then you'll see how big and how a mix-up mess it is. For years, I was being billed, because I live on Gibbs Lane, I was being billed for years for 2 sets of triplex buildings. I only had one, but one was on Mara Lane and one was on Gibbs Lane. You follow? I got it corrected some years ago, but I'm only telling you how important the name is. But these miscreants, they go and they knock these signs down, and when the people come, they put up any sign back there. That happened right over here again. This one got Gibbs Lane on it, where Mara Lane really is. So on the maps from tourism, when the tourists traveling, they looking for Mara Lane, they lost. They don't know where they are. Happens every day. Thank God we're here to say, yes, you're on the right street. Just go straight down there. If I was paid 1/2 of a penny for the amount of times I saved the tourists in the right way, I would be a very wealthy man and would pay off the national debt. What's in the name? You got to get it right. That's what I mean when I say reconstruction. We've got to fix the thing again. And so the gentleman is right. I don't know how we're going to do this, but the roads on Wolf Road, my God. Wolf Road is in the constituency of the Great Perry Gladstone Christie. It's a mess. You see, the trouble is most of these guys don't travel Wolf Road. Wolf Road used to be a wonderful place. To negotiate the holes on Wolf Road now, you need to have a radar. Don't let it rain. Don't take that road if it rains, because you could fall into a big cave any day. You think the people didn't see that? You think that we can't find some asphalt? You think we can't get a company to repave all of Wolf Road? You hear what I say? Reconstruction. You need a government next that's going to reconstruct. Hard copy, how are you?
Hey, how are you doing?
Good, good. Hey, I know this voice. What's happening?
Calling from Andros.
Man, this is Prescott Smith, my good friend Prescott. How are you, friend?
Yes, Steve. I am listening to your shows. You know, people are tuned into this all over the country. They're like on lock. And I just want to encourage you to keep up the good work. But there was a gentleman who made a point as an entrepreneur for 20-something years.
25 years, yeah.
I wonder if Bahamians were really listening to him, because he was 100% right. Having dealt with a lot of national issues to help empower Bahamians, it gave me a very good indicator as to who talks a good talk politically and who's really committed to Bahamians. So I just wanted to share. Most people hear about Batelco being takeover. A lot of these things in my research, they're not hidden if you really know where to look. For example, on the IDB website, you will see when Mr. Ingram was Prime Minister, we did some of the largest borrowing for infrastructure stuff in the country. But what most Bahamians don't realize, the road work was really about our water system being taken over, just like Batelco was sold off. So the digging up of the roads had to do with the Bahamian taxpayers footing the bill to put the new pipes so that water and sewage would be taken over by Consolidated Water.
Yes, sir.
And also even the garbage service. So if you notice, at the end of the day, if you follow and see who are the owners and shareholders of these companies, you find this is how the politics work in our country, why they don't want the average person to be able to see the transparency that you should have with good governance.
My lord. So that's why that talk about transparency and accountability is gone out the window.
Batelco being sold off, Steve, all the corporations were being sold off, but we made noise about Batelco, but we never looked and see who sells the water now to water and sewage.
My lord.
How the Bahamian people foot the bill. So all those businesses that were shut down had to do with the leaky pipes beneath the street. They needed to make sure that they borrow millions of dollars in order for a private company to reap the profits as they're doing today. But the Bahamian taxpayers foot the bill for putting new infrastructure beneath the street.
Yeah. My lord, what insight?
So you can find all of this information, Steve, on the IDB website. So while they try to hide things from Bahamians,
yeah, it's right there internationally. You can see it.
yes, internationally, if you go to the IDB site, and what was so troubling to show you what the gentleman's point was about if we are serious about empowering our people or just special interests. As I looked at the IDB site, what was embarrassing was countries like Argentina, even Belize, in their borrowing, a huge percentage of their monies were geared towards empowering people, creating new entrepreneurs, education, such and such. But the Bahamas predominantly was about infrastructure. So if you look at who owned those companies, the monies were funneling right into the politicians' pockets.
You mean all of those asphalt companies and cement and all that for all those mediums and all of that? What that thing called? Aluminum, and where the people started to steal the aluminum rods and.
Yeah, it's people never look at, and so you have. I see Bahamians are waking up, and not just having the same old rhetoric push at us each time. You have to follow who are the special interests, who are controlling these companies.
Status
That's
quo.
how we end up in the predicament we're in today. Most people don't look at that. Consolidated Water took over our water company, and we just made noise about Batelco. And then who took over the garbage system in the country and then left the portions for the government to pick up that they say, well, the poor can't afford to pay. But if the private businesses, all of that money is going to the special interests who own those companies.
My Lord, they even got our garbage, making money off it.
And you'll see quite a few of our politicians are involved in these things.
Oh, we know them. We know them. And, you may think that we have not followed. Don't mind me playing possum. We all set. When that bell ring, many people can have to answer real questions. That's why I tell them this time is not a usual time. Miles Monroe predicted it. This going to be one hell of an election. My word. The point is, a lot of people who are believing that they're under the radar, that's only for now. It ain't the season yet. You see? Right. And when that season unfolds,
Ingham used to like to say, monkey can put question to ma. They can have to answer, Mr. So-and-so, do you own 51% of this? Mr. So-and-so, have you sold your home on Paradise Island and you got 10 times the amount for it? And where did you get the money from to pay off the loan for the foreclosure? See, these questions are very real. Only those who have ears to hear will hear. And they know what Steve talking about.
So Steve, you had a gentleman on Pierre DePuche.
Yeah.
And most people aren't aware of this. For the 23 years, I went to the government trying to get legislation that would make Bahamians owners in the industry. 15 years under Mr. Ingram was a nightmare for me because he blocked me every step of the way. Nothing happened. And so I realized, and Bahamians, all this PLP, F&M talk, I got a very good indicator as to who's interested in empowering Bahamians and who's not. And it isn't just PLP and F&M, because there are Bahamians who are committed like you, Steve, that you have to search. And it doesn't matter who they vote for. But for 23 years, we were being blocked every step of the way. And under him, it was a disaster. Minister Turnquest shut down the guide training program. And most Bahamians don't know that we actually don't control our tourism industry today. That's why we're declining. Look at our over-the-hill communities. Like you say, many businesses that have shut down. There's so much things that we can do to help our people, but we have to stop catering to just special interests in our society.
We will be engaging further, my brother. I've got to run. I've got to go to do some other things, but I appreciate your call. You make so much sense. You're on the record. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very kindly. Take this final call. I'd copy. How are you? I'd copy. How are you? All right. So we've got lots of text messages. I'm going to try to post most of these here for you. You know that I've got to go and cover this, provide coverage, live coverage on the station for the network for this convention that's happening tonight. It's night 2. Loretta Butler Turner speaks tonight. And so there's the deputy leader of the party, Peter Turnquest. It's supposed to be another lively night of activity. We'll go down and see what's happening and feel the mood of the room, because today would have been a day of great campaigning for tomorrow morning's election, and also a day of policy making and platform planning. And so you may hear some of those things roll up tonight as to what they plan to do. And certainly substantively, you'll hear from the leader who we don't know yet of the elections that's going to happen tomorrow. That leader will do the keynote address tomorrow night, and you'll get a good understanding as to what the Free National Movement is all about, headed out of this convention and into the next general election. So we'll wait for that. Here's what some people say. Good day, Mr. McKinney. My business was located on Robinson Road, suffered as well because of the road works. I had to relocate to Wolf Road. Now, your assignment, people, is simple. Let us go and count the businesses. And by later on this week, maybe even tomorrow, we'll take a look at it again and pick it up, because the only way that we're going to get things corrected, if we speak truth to power, talk about it, and push the government or those who want to be government in the direction of how we can bring some immediate relief, some medium relief, and some long-term relief for our people. And you, the people, have got to get involved, get active, get activated, and say your say. Otherwise, these guys will dictate to us one more time and get us all excited with pom-pomming and jumping up and down and all the stuff. That's all well and good in its place, but there's real work to do at the end of the day, and you've got to be prepared to do your part of the work. But that's it. That's our show for today. Yeah, I suppose. My producer's telling me, you got to go, Steve. Be on time. And so I didn't get to play a number of things to you today, but maybe I'll play some of these tonight when we do the live broadcast. Talk and play some of those things from Minus and all of those kinds of stuff. And there'll be highlights in the 8 o'clock hour. We'll play one. Which one you want to play? We'll play the one with Minus was showing his style last night of what he is tired of as the leader. Let's play that one. Tired of PLP.
I can't take another 5 years of this lazy, corrupt, incompetent, arrogant, and good-for-nothing PLP government. And neither should you. I will do everything in my power to ensure that this lazy, corrupt, petty, feeble, failed, dishonest, bumbling, fumbling, mumbling, selfish, vindictive, incompetent, and inept PLP government you see today, come 2017 or before, you will see no more.
Well, they gave this song plenty play last night from the archives of Hard Copy, and I believe that my producer made this very popular. And you saw Minutes dancing and all that, right? Will we see more of that tonight? Maybe Loretta Butler got a bag of tricks up tonight when she speaks. We're looking forward to that. Our show today has been brought to you by Island Marine Electronics, Committee to Re-elect Dr. Cuban Minutes, Bahamian Brewery and Beverages, Cybertech, Career College, Commonwealth Bank, Ministry of Tourism, Kalina Insurance, Super Wash, Bank of the Bahamas, Super Value, Advantage Insurance, Ron's Electric Motors, Committee to Re-elect Butler and Sands. Loretta speaks tonight. Sky Bahamas, Seafile, Executive Printers, Henry F. Store, Buddies, Wings and Greens, McKinney Media Group for the best results in advertisement and public relations. And I've got to hit the road because I've got to be on another live broadcast within the hour. Tune in to us. All right, good night from Hard Copy. We'll see you tomorrow. God willing.
Well, I guess if you say so, I'll have to pack my things and go. What you say? Well, what you said, I didn't understand. Don't you come back? You can't mean that. Don't you come back? Oh, now, baby, please. Don't you come back? What you trying to do to me?
This is Peace Radio After Dark.